Good afternoon. My name is Alexander Hagan. I am the CEO of a small, medium-sized tech company in Silicon Valley, and I've done many pieces on armed aggression by superpowers and political issues generally. The latest ones I've done, some of them have been about the International Criminal Court and Luis Moreno Ocampo, its chief prosecutor. And in reviewing this, I have realized that the arrest warrants of Libyans, Ocampo had said he would also investigate NATO crimes, and I had called for crimes against humanity charges being filed against, in particular, Hillary Clinton, Susan Rice, David Cameron, Nikolas Sarkozy, and Anders Fogh Rasmussen, as well as all their enablers, for the murder of approximately 25,000 Libyan armed forces servicemen and women, due to their failure to engage in diplomacy. Instead of thinking, they simply killed. No thinking, just murder. Diplomacy was not truly tried. I have no objection to any Libyan who wishes to free themselves of a police state, but a lot of harm was done in destroying the infrastructure of a country that had the highest education rate and standard of living in Africa, as well as being the only African country with sufficient resources and largesse to help other African countries attain independence truly from international supercapitalism. Dennis Kucinich called what we've done in Libya armed gangsterism, international gangsterism, sorry. So I have decided that we should found a society called Americans Who Aren't Assholes. And I encourage the founding of Frenchmen against who aren't assholes, Britons who aren't assholes, etc., with two central tenets. One, that no bullet be fired against any country, by any country, whose citizens cannot find the country they are firing bullets against on a map. And two, conflict of interest. If you're being high-minded and doing humanitarian assistance, just as in our government, there are firewalls between industry and government and lobbyists, there should be no commercial relation established for at least 5 years between the country that was firing the bullets and the country that was receiving the bullets. A simple firewall against commercial exploitation of disaster capitalism. And third, that no media outlet covering said bullets being fired have any commercial interest in any company contracting to the military-industrial system that is waging this conflict. And I guess I would also say that there should be investigations and trials against the criminals who have pillaged, killed, and liberated, that is to say, uprooted so many. When you think of what regime change means in Iraq or in Libya, or if you can imagine in your own country, it would be a complete and wholesale upending of the entire system of justice, of laws, of society, a complete uprooting of the entire society. In the case of Iraq, the literacy rate fell from being in the high 80s to below 40% in just a period of 10 years. In Libya, the death rate, for example, they had a lower death rate per capita than Americans, has now gone up by threefold this year, can be expected to be a great deal higher because it was a very peaceful police state. On this Thanksgiving, I am thankful that the whole world is not yet crushed under the boot of a smug, self-righteous elite of ultra-wealthy gangsters such as Hillary Clinton and Susan Rice and Barack Obama and David Cameron and Nikolas Sarkozy. I will not evaluate Russia for the moment, since they have been largely at peace since 1980. They have not bombed other countries as we have. As I said, I've done a couple of pieces on Luis Ocampo and the International Criminal Court, and on putting Clinton, Rasmussen, and their whole gang on trial for crimes against humanity for unnecessarily bombing Libya 10,000 times. When one thinks about it, that's one bombing attack on every 2.5 soldiers. According to my estimate, there were about 25,000 soldiers once the bombing really got underway. It would also be the equivalent of bombing a population smaller than New York City 10,000 times. Not 10,000 bombs, but 10,000 actual planes armed with missiles and bombs. So probably more like 40 to 80,000 bombs and missiles, at least. Almost one missile or bomb for every 50 people in the country. A country that has committed so far less acts of state violence than the US, France, or the UK. Lockerbie was a tiny drop in the bucket compared to Iraq alone. And we in America have on our heads the arming of the Contras in Nicaragua, the mining of their harbors, the attempted coup d'etat in Venezuela, an attempted coup d'etat in Bolivia, the death of 1 million in Iraq, and the invasion of Afghanistan, the bombing of hundreds of innocents in Pakistan and other countries, and the permanent perpetual war on terror against an enemy that largely doesn't even exist. Arabs have no particular beef with the United States if we would simply let them alone and divest ourselves of arming Israel. And as Ron Paul has said, we give more money to Arab states than we do to Israel. If we simply got out of the funding of militaries in the Middle East, we would have no beef with Arabs or Muslims. The whole war on terror its raison d'etre would simply disappear. Now, upon reviewing these ICC warrants against Libya, I realized that in the press of all of this chaos and bloodshed in Libya, I had overlooked a few very problematic issues about the ICC warrants. Libya is not a signatory to the International Criminal Court, and therefore, in theory, the International Criminal Court has no jurisdiction over it. So how is this so? How is this superpower gangsterism possible? Well, it turns out that the ICC can only issue warrants against its signatories or cases referred to it by the Security Council, which essentially means that we can say, do as we say and not as we do. Because in the cases of China, Russia, France, the United Kingdom, and the United States, we can issue arrest warrants against the leaders of any country and then invade their countries on the pretext of humanitarian intervention. And it can never be done to us because of our veto powers. It takes a simple majority vote in the Security Council with no vetoes from the 5 permanent members. To date, the court has opened investigations into 7 situations: the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Uganda, the Central African Republic, Sudan, the Republic of Kenya, the Libyan Arab Jamahiriya, and the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire. Now, interestingly enough, in the case of Ivory Coast, Sudan, and Libya, none of them are signatories. So all of the countries that have had ICC warrants issued against their leadership have been in Africa, and of those countries, 3 of the 7 are not even members of the International Criminal Court. Now, the crime of aggression will be able to be investigated as of 2017. The court came into being on July 1st of 2002. There's only 3 instances in which proceedings may take place: when the person accused of committing a crime is a national of a state party, or where the person's state has accepted the jurisdiction of the court, where the alleged crime was committed on the territory of a state party, or where a situation is referred to by the Security Council. So I think that really covers it. Thank you, good day, and good luck.